You're tuned in to the Barrage Sports Show.
Yo, what's up, everybody out there in radio land, podcast land? The Barrage Sports Show is in full effect. I'm one of your hosts, Mike B, and I'm here with my son,
Mike Burr.
Mike Burr's in the building. We got April T, the super producer on the ones and twos. How you feeling today, April?
I'm feeling fantastic.
Okay, good, man. We got a good show for you guys. Let's just jump right into it. Let's talk about the NBA because the All-Star season is upon us. You can start voting right now. I hope you guys have gone out to NBA.com and start voting. So let's just talk about the All-Stars and who we think are the top players. Maybe we'll do like awards. You want to do that, Mike Burr?
Yeah, let's get it.
Okay, so you'll start it off. Let's start off with our mid-season awards because the All-Star game is kind of near the mid-season. April T, we're going to just talk about some players that we think are at the top of the ladder, top of the list. Then we'll chop it up about the All-Star game and get into some other stuff. So, Mike Burr, hit us.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and start with the MVP.
Okay.
I think we got a lot of new candidates, a lot of new interesting faces that could potentially win the MVP. You know, a couple guys you see, even though his team isn't very good, Bradley Beal is dropping 33 a night.
He is. He's
leading
snapping.
the league in scoring, shooting a high percentage. You got Steph Curry. He has the Warriors in the playoffs if it were to start today.
True.
You know, a lot of people thought they would be down when Klay was out, but he still has them competing. You got Damian Lillard, Dame Time, Embiid. He's been balling. You got the Joker. You got Giannis and the usual faces like LeBron, Kawhi Leonard. And then the Nets got 3 different MVPs on their team. So
who you like then? If you doing, since we're doing like a mid-season award show because it's near All-Star, who do you like for, even though technically it's not mid-season, we just jumping out there a little early. Who do you like right now at this point as the MVP of the league?
I got to go with the big fella, Joel Embiid.
Okay.
Dropping 30 a night, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, a block, and a steal. And if you look at the standings, guess who's in first place in the East?
Yes, Philly. Philly's first place, 18-7 at this point.
I think they got the right coach for him. I think Doc Rivers is instilling that toughness, that mental toughness. They're competing on both ends of the court, and he's bringing out the best of Embiid. We always knew he could do this. We always knew he could be the best player in the league, and I think he's showing it this year.
Okay. I think that's a good pick. I mean, you can't deny it. But I'm going to go with the other guy on the other end of the spectrum. They have the best team in the West. Matter of fact, they're the best. I mean, the best, not team, best. Yeah, I guess say team and best record in the NBA. I'm going with Donovan Mitchell.
Ooh,
I'm going with Spider-Man. Because right now he's the best player on the best team. He's averaging 24, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. And they're on top, man. At this point, they're 20-5. And they've been rocking and rolling, man. In their last 10 games, they're 9-1. So I'm going with Spider-Man. Donovan Mitchell is my MVP right now. What about you, April T? Who you feeling right now as MVP if you were choosing a day?
I think I would have to go with none other than LeBron.
Okay. Okay.
He's
okay.
averaging about 25 points a game, and then he's doing about 8 assists, 8 rebounds. And guess what, y'all? His team is winning, and they're going to go to the championship again.
I mean, that's the obvious choice, right?
Yeah, and it's amazing that LeBron at this stage of his career, man, at his age, is still an MVP consideration. So I'm feeling you on that one, April T. You know, I think all the guys we picked right now are right at the top, record-wise, stat-wise, and, you know, they could all do it. So who do we pick as Defensive Player of the Year? I mean, that's always a kind of tricky one. But who's playing the best defense right now in the NBA? Mike Burr, hit me with that. Who you like for Defensive Player of the Year right now?
You know, that's a great question. I think you got some usual faces. I think Gobert is playing excellent as usual. You got Clint Capella. You got a couple guys, Jared Allen in Cleveland. You know, he's not getting a lot of TV time, but he's been playing well on that end.
Yeah.
But I gotta go with my man AD. I think Anthony Davis, he's having by his standards, he's having a down year offensively, but he's really upped his intensity on the defensive end to make up for that. He's averaging about 2 blocks a game, a steal and a half. And most importantly is the eye test. When you watch him, he's just dominating both sides of the court, and especially on the defensive end, you know, having a big that could switch, play all 5 positions, great shot blocker, can play the passing lanes, and most importantly, if he gets a steal or a big play, he'll convert it on the other end as well.
You know what, man? I can't argue with that. I think he's the best defender too. I would have to pick him as well. I like AD just because, like you say, he's so versatile, so multi-talented, and he really picks up a lot of slack for LeBron. LeBron is playing good defense this year, but the kind of anchor of the Lakers defense is Anthony Davis. So I think I would go with him too, as right now being a defensive player of the year if we're picking early.
Yeah, for sure. Just dominating, like you said, he's that anchor for the Lakers on the defensive end. So up next, who you got for a rookie of the year?
Oh, that's a good one, man. You got to come back to me on that. I can't really. I don't know who I think is rookie of the year right now. There's so many guys.
You know who it is?
Who?
LaMelo.
The GOAT. Better than Steph Curry already.
Who?
LaMelo Ball.
So you like LaMelo?
LaMelo,
but you know what? LaMelo is making a big splash. You gotta, and you didn't know if it was gonna be hype with him because the way his brother played. You kind of thought, well, maybe he's not gonna be all of that. Maybe he's got a lot of hype around him, but he actually can flat out ball, man.
Yeah, and the big thing about him, it's some other rookies playing well. You got Wiseman with the Warriors. You got Anthony Edwards. You got some other guys that are in the conversation. But LaMelo has the excitement factor.
He does.
At least with him, you're gonna get at least one highlight every night. He's exciting. He's fun to watch, and the Hornets are a fun team to watch right now. He really brought some life to that franchise.
He did. But I think I got to go with Wiseman now.
Ooh.
Because I like the fact that they plugged that big man in right away. And like you say, Golden State has been a very pleasant surprise. Nobody thought that they would be in the hunt. And especially the way things happened last season. They had the worst record in the NBA. But he's 12-6 with almost a block per game. And he's not really playing that many minutes. They're limiting his minutes, and he's still been effective. Like when he's on the floor, they're a different team. So I like LaMelo, but I got to go with the big fella Wiseman because I think he's exceeding expectations, and he's a starter. LaMelo, I think they just moved him into the starting lineup, but they started the young fella right away, and he's been doing a great job. And as a 7-footer, man, you see his potential is off the charts, man. He can move around. He get up and down the floor. He can step out, stop and pop. He's really good around the basket. So right now, if I was picking, I would go with James Wiseman of the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, that's not a bad choice. He definitely has a potential, and that's gonna be scary when Klay comes back. They got a legit big three, and of course they got Draymond too. So they're gonna have those four all-star caliber players again. Yeah.
I'm just liking what Golden State is doing, man. They're showing a lot of grit, When Klay Thompson got hurt, they could have just mailed it in. But they showing you why they were a championship team, man. They're playing real hard, and they're exciting to watch, man. Curry is letting people know that we must have forgot. Because I saw a segment on like one of the shows, ESPN or something, and they was naming like the top guys in the NBA, and I couldn't believe they didn't even name Curry. But he's showing like, y'all forgot, man, what I do. And he's showing that, it's not just because he's in a great system or because he had a lot of great players around him. He's individually one of the best guys to ever play the game of basketball.
For sure.
All right.
And we got We got one more.
Okay.
Most improved player.
Yeah.
And, it's a lot of guys hooping this year. But one guy to me really stands out.
Who?
He went to a new situation. He went from being a role player, a rotational guy, to now, he's on a team. They're not winning very much, but he has more of an opportunity and a bigger role.
Okay.
He went from dropping 12 points a game to dropping 24.
Okay. I'm
Doubled
curious.
his points. He's balling this year. Plays on both ends. You got to go with Jeremiah Grant for this one.
Oh, Grant from the who left Denver and now he's at Detroit.
Yep. Yeah, he really upped his play. He got more minutes, and now he has an opportunity to show everything he could do. And he's an excellent defender from his days from the Nuggets, and he's averaging 24, 5, and 4. So those are impressive all-star caliber numbers, and he's really taking advantage of his opportunity.
Yeah, Grant is a good player, man, and I think that is a great pick. I have to go with Julius Randle of the Knicks.
Ooh.
Right now, he's averaging 22, 10, and 5. 22, 10, and 5, and he's almost averaging a steal a game. So I'm just loving what Julius Randle is doing. They're not getting a lot of hype, but to play that type of ball, 22, 10, and 5, and the Knicks are 11 and 15. Now, they're a few games under 500, but right now they're the number 9 seed in the East. Nobody saw that coming. So they're fighting to, be a playoff team. And Randall's been their best player, man. He's been very consistent. They brought in Derrick Rose, and Rose is going to add a little pop because they need a little bit of veteran play. And we know how comfortable Rose is with Thibodeau. A lot of people forget that when Rose got traded from the Bulls, he went to the Knicks.
Yep.
So this is his second stint with the Knicks. But I would have to go with Julius Randle, man, as my most improved.
Yeah, that's a good pick as well. And the Knicks, I like what they're doing. They're a couple years away from really competing if they continue to make good decisions. But, I like that they're bringing that kind of toughness that, the Knicks have been known for. When they were successful, they were the most violent team in the league.
Right.
So they're bringing that back with players like Julius Randle, a coach like Thibodeau, players like Derrick Rose that play with that toughness. And, they're competing. They're scrappy.
You know what, man? Since you brought up Rose, I know I'm finna switch gears, but hey, it's a podcast. This is what we do. Speaking of Derrick Rose, what team would you like to see Derrick Rose play for to get a ring? Because I think being the youngest MVP in the history of the NBA, Rookie of the Year, he was a 4-time All-Star in 3 years. Then we know he had the very bad injury. So what team would you like to see Derrick Rose ultimately go to so he could get him a chip? Because I think it just wouldn't be right if Derrick Rose leaves the NBA without a chip. I want to hear from you and April on this one, man, because that's our homeboy.
That's a good question. What he brings to the game. Being the youngest MVP, being from Chicago. You're just one of those players you root for. You wanted to see him get a championship. And, like I said, I think the Knicks are a couple years away at best. So I would like to see him end up with a championship team at some point in his career.
But for who, though? Who, though?
You know what?
I think I know what you're going to say.
The Nets.
Whoa.
Add another one. Bang.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, man, that'd be a lot of star power. You surprised me with that. I was thinking you were going to say the Lakers because you're a Laker fan. But
I knew that would be too obvious. I had to switch it up. But they need some scoring off the bench. They need some energy. They had a lot of firepower in that starting 5. But the bench unit isn't as strong because they traded a lot of those good players away. So you bring in Derrick Rose. He could be 6th man of the year and really help carry them to where they want to be.
And I wonder if he went there, they would have 4 players who was MVP.
Wow.
I mean, 3 players. I'm sorry. 3 players who were MVP. I wonder if that's ever been done.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think that would have ever happened before. What about you, April T? What would you like to see your man Derrick Rose go to, our homeboy from the Chi?
I would like to see him go to a team that needs him, where he's going to get a little bit more playing time.
Okay.
And I think he should go to the 76ers.
Oh, wow.
I think they need the help right now. So I think that should be the place he goes. If he goes to the Lakers, they already have their structure in place. They don't necessarily need him. He won't get that playing time. But I think to ensure to get his stats up and to kind of still make it to the playoffs, I think he needs to go to a team like 76ers.
That would be cool, too, because a lot of people don't know Doc Rivers from the west side of Chicago, Proviso West. So, that'd be a little connection back to the Chi. And I think Philly would really embrace Derrick Rose, because they had Allen Iverson. Now you get another dynamic point guard like Derrick Rose. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And I think he would complement that team really well.
Yeah, that's a really good pick. I think him and Embiid in a pick and roll would be scary.
Yeah, they would be, man. You know where I would like to see him go? Milwaukee.
Ooh.
Milwaukee. Giannis need that ring, man. The fact that he committed and signed the extension, and he's like, okay, I'm staying here. I want to get it done here in Milwaukee. I would love to see Derrick Rose come back into the Midwest, hook up with the Bucks, same division as the Bulls, and bring that chip to Milwaukee. Because I want Giannis to get a chip as well. So not only would I be rooting for Derrick Rose, I'd be rooting for Giannis, man. Because that young man is dedicated. He wants to win a ring. And I like the fact that he ponied up with Milwaukee saying, look, I'm not going to go and try to go to a super team right now. I'm going to do this thing right here where I started from. And I think him and Derrick Rose, that'd be fun to watch if they brought that chip back to the Midwest.
Yeah, that would be dynamic, and he may be the that added weapon that they need to put them over the edge and finally get out the East.
Okay. Let me ask you another question. Who's a player right now? We just talked about Derrick Rose. A few players. We don't have to talk about a lot of them, but just a few players you could think about that's currently in the NBA that you would love to see win a ring before it's all said and done. I know I'm kind of throwing you with one, but just think about it. Who would you like to see get a chip that doesn't have a chip right now?
Ooh, well, I'll say the first name that comes to mind. We already talked about Derrick Rose. I'll say so. The second name, I'll say Jimmy Butler.
Oh wow, Jimmy Buckets. He got close.
Yeah, real close last year. I mean, they took him to 6, so literally they could have won that series. They had a chance, but it was unfortunate. They had a lot of injuries. It just wasn't their year. And we got to know him well, watching him in Chicago all these years. And one thing about it, he doesn't cheat the game. And you always want to see a player like that, get that ultimate goal.
Yeah, I would love to see Buckets get one. Jimmy Buckets. You know what I would say? Dame Dollar.
Ooh.
I would love to see Damian Lillard get a chip, man. He's just been too good for too long. And sometimes because he's in the West, he doesn't get the votes for All-Star like he should.
Yeah.
Because, when you're behind Curry and Kawhi and all those other names, sometimes he's odd man out. But he's never odd man out because of his play, though. I mean, he showed you he's big game. He dropped the game winner against the Bulls not too long ago. He drops game winners in the playoffs. And I would just love to see Dame Dollar get a ring before it's all said and done. What about you, April T? Who would you like to see get a ring that doesn't have a ring right now before it's all said and done?
I think that I would like to see Russell Westbrook get a ring.
Oh,
just because
really?
he wants it so bad.
He does.
But he makes poor decisions like going to the Washington Wizards.
Yeah.
It's not looking too good. But I do want to see him get that ring because he's such a great player.
Yeah.
And I think that he just has to be in the right environment, but he just has to find it.
Yeah. Well, and he made it to the finals once. Him, James Harden, and Durant, they were young bucks, and they got beat by the Miami Heat super team with LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. But, yeah, that would be a good one, too, man, because he puts in that work, Anybody else, Mike B., you would like to see get a ring?
Well, the only other person I can think of but he retired already. But maybe he can come back. Is Vince Carter?
Yeah, that would have been nice for Vince.
I would love to. Maybe he should do a comeback tour. Just join the Lakers. Ride the bench for a couple of months, then try to get a ring.
Yeah, get that hanger on ring.
Might as well.
Ain't no shame in that. I'm trying to think another player. I think another player I would love to see get a ring is Mike Conley of the Utah Jazz. Mike Conley, he's been a steady player, all around good guy. Utah, I think, have a chance to actually win the chip this year.
Yeah.
And he was a big free agent pickup for him. They wanted him. They wanted a nice veteran point guard. And Mike Conley isn't a big stats guy. He's not going to be a first-team All-Star. But he's just been a solid, professional, good player in the league. And so I would love to see Conley get a ring when it's all said and done. You got anybody else, April T, on your list?
I also would like to see Luka get a ring, but he's young, so I think he has ample opportunity to get one, but I would love to see him get a ring.
Yeah, Luka the real deal too, man.
Yeah.
That joker can ball, man. He reminds me of LeBron. He plays like LeBron to me. Maybe not above the rim like LeBron, but his floor game is just excellent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. So let's talk about the All-Star game a little bit, y'all. So we got the All-Star game coming up. I don't think they know the date yet. But what do y'all think about this All-Star game? Because, it was a little controversy about whether they should play it or not. I don't think Brown wants to play. What do you guys think about that? Like, what's your opinion on should they have an All-Star game? Because I guess they're going to have to bubble it. I heard they're moving it to Atlanta instead of Indianapolis. But what do you think about them actually going through and having the All-Star game?
Yeah, I don't know about this one. Just because, of course, I would love to see the All-Star weekend, but they did already promise the players that they wouldn't have one. And now the NBA is reneging on that. And then you also have to consider, if you're, with this COVID season, if you're really concerned about the health and safety, why have an All-Star game in Atlanta with all the, fun and distractions and the hot wings that, players have access to.
Oh, yeah.
And then, a big part of All-Star game is all the celebrity appearances, seeing Jay-Z in a crowd or, having the performers and all the celebrities participate as well. So you either have to say we're not going to do that, which will make it boring, or you do that and now you have a potential, super spreader event. So, I think it's best to, stick with your original word and just, bring it back next year or maybe do it in the summer.
Yeah, well, they're voting, so it's going to happen. What you think about it, April T?
I agree with Mike Burr that this is not the year to have it, and I think that it being in Atlanta, you can't expect a whole bunch of 20 and 30-something men to not enjoy the one city that's open.
Yeah.
You're in Atlanta,
right.
so
That's a good point.
You're just asking for people to violate the rules, and then that's going to impact the games after the All-Star game because there are going to be some players who probably more than likely will have to be quarantined just for safety purposes because I cannot see someone go to Atlanta for a weekend and not enjoy Atlanta.
Yeah, they're going to want those wings. They're going to want them fresh. You know where you get the wings from in Atlanta. Yeah, well, what the NBA is going to try to do, they're just going to make it one night. You know how usually it's a whole weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Mm-hmm. To limit the kind of the COVID, kind of stay under a COVID protocol, they're going to just try to make it one night. And let me kind of tell you what the voting is right now, because the voting goes through February the 16th. So you still got 5 or 6 more days to vote as of this podcast. Right now, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, they're starters. Luka Doncic is a starter. Harden is a starter. It's kind of like all the names you know. Bradley Beal, believe it or not, got a lot of votes as of right now. Ben Simmons got a lot of votes. Jimmy Buckets, Joel Embiid, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. So it's kind of all of the names you know.
Yep.
All the major superstars. I think the only one that's a surprise right now is Curry. Curry isn't among the top 10 right now when you do East and West, which is kind of surprising to me. but I think he'll come on late, and he would make the All-Star, but I thought he would have more votes. But those are your main guys right now in the early voting. So yeah, it's been controversial, and LeBron, being the player that he is, spoke up and spoke out. But the NBA, it's a business. It's a business.
They got to get that TV money.
They got to get that TV money, man. AT&T is sponsoring it, the All-Star voting. So I think they had some financial obligations, and they just moved forward with it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So that's how it goes. So with that being said, how y'all think this NBA season is going right now?
I think, all things considered, it's obviously different, watching the games without the fans. And some, some stadiums, depending on where they are starting to have a limited amount of fans, and that'll probably continue to increase. But in terms of the level of play, it's been exciting.
It has been, man.
It's been, the good thing about this season, we kind of went through a period where, it was just the Cavs and the Warriors, or it was pretty much LeBron versus whoever was the other top team. You kind of knew all season who the best two teams were.
Right.
But now, it's all. If you look at all 8 playoff teams, it's good competition. 10 teams deep in like every conference. And so it's going to be exciting matchups in the playoffs, and every game has been competitive and interesting.
I think so too. And man, when I look at the Western Conference, everybody has a shot to make the playoffs. I mean, Dallas is in the 13th spot, but they're 11-14. They're only 3 games under 500.
Yep.
So it's just saying, even that low, look, Oklahoma City is the 14th seed out of 15 teams in the West. They're 10-13.
Yeah, just below 500.
They're just below 500. So Golden State has the 8th spot right now, but they're only 13-12. So the team almost near the bottom, the Oklahoma City Thunder, they're 10-13. They're only 3 games back of the 8th seed. So it's so much parity in the league, man.
Yeah, and like you said, the Mavs are the 13th seed right now, and that's a team with 2 All-Stars on it.
True.
And a bunch of, that's a high-quality team. They were in the playoffs last year, and they're 13 right now. That just shows you the level of competition. And it's not just the West, though. Look at the East. The Miami Heat, the defending Eastern Conference champions, they're 10th place right now.
Right.
You got, and the teams above them, all the talent you see Atlanta's having a great year. The Hornets having a great year. The Celtics and Philly, obviously, the Bucks, the Nets. So it's so many exciting teams. It's not going to be a bad matchup in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think these playoffs, these players are going to go at it, man. And it's a lot of young stars that are emerging now that they aren't afraid, man. They don't have that respect where they're just going to lay down for the old head guys. They're going to come right at them, And so that's why the league has been so exciting this year. Bradley Beal is leading the NBA in scoring. James Harden is leading the NBA in assists. So it's just different things that we never saw before. Clint Capella's leading the NBA in rebounding. So it's all new names at the top. Jared Allen is leading the NBA in field goal percentage. OG Anunoby of Toronto is leading in steals. Miles Turner's leading in blocks. So those aren't names you normally see. So it's kind of mixing up this year, man, where a lot of other players are stepping up.
Yeah, and one team I want to highlight is the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah.
They're right below 500. Trae Young's having a great season. They're young. They're playing. I think Rondo was a great signing. And somebody they've been missing that could put them over the edge and put them in that contending conversation is Bogdanovich. He's been hurt this year. He was their big signing from last year. He had a great season. They were looking for a 1-2 punch in the backcourt, with obviously with how good Trae Young is playing. So it's some wild cards where you say, hey, maybe this team can really make a run for it this year.
I think so. But what's been amazing, man? Steph Curry still has the most threes in the NBA. He's just amazing, man. He has 121 threes. He's leading the NBA in threes. The only guy in NBA history to have 400-plus threes in a season. And it's just amazing that a guy can just shoot like that. He's a video game player, man. When you watch him, sometimes he looks like he's just chucking the ball up, but it's money.
Yep.
And I'm just amazed that coming back from an injury, that he can just step right back in and lead the NBA in three-point shooters made. I mean, it's just crazy. And his three-point shooting field goal percentage is still 50%. That's just bananas, man. Wow. He is literally the best three-point shooter in the history of the game. Shout out to him. He just passed Reggie Miller for number 2, and he's coming for Ray Allen number 1. He'll be catching that soon because he only needs, like, I forgot, 200-300, just some number like that. So, man, he's just amazing to me, man.
At the way he's going, you might hit that this season.
Right. Just, man, he's just a video game player. And I just think he's showing everybody how good he is. You know, he scored 62 points this year. He had a 62-point game over Portland at the beginning of January. And
wow.
He just, man, people must have forgot. Like I said, I watched a segment on ESPN or something. They picked the top 10 NBA players at the beginning of the year. Nobody had Curry on their list. And I'm like, what are they doing? To me, Curry has to be number 3. I would go LeBron 1, Durant 2, and then I would have to go with Curry. That's just how I feel.
Wait. I don't know about that.
I got to go with Curry,
So
bro.
Curry, you taking Curry over Harden?
Yep.
Over Giannis?
Yep.
Kawhi?
Yep.
AD?
Yep.
Wow.
I would put Curry as the third best, man, because he's a franchise guy. He revolutionized the game. Before Curry, you couldn't just stop and pull up from anywhere, especially on the fast break. You couldn't shoot a 3 on the fast break.
True.
So he revolutionized the game. First unanimous MVP in league history. He has 3 rings. He's been to the finals 5 times. To me, he's number 3. I will pick him over AD, Giannis, all those guys.
Wow.
What about you? So who will be your number 3? Who will be your top 3?
If I'm picking right now for this season, I would have to say, you know, even though, you know, he's had his struggles in the playoffs, I still gotta go with Giannis. Because I'm looking at both ends of the court.
Who's your first 2 though?
Oh, same. I would say LeBron and KD. LeBron being 1, KD being 2. But then I'll put Giannis at the 3.
Okay.
Because, you know, I think it's about both sides of the game. You know, Curry, as great as he is on offense, and I agree with everything you said, he is a liability on the defensive end.
Yeah, he's not a defender.
And the game is 2 sides, so I would personally give Giannis an edge if I was picking. But, you know, it's no disrespect to Curry. You know, he's a great choice for number 3, and I think he's definitely top 5.
Yeah, I would have to probably go with definitely LeBron is number 1.
Okay.
Then I would have to do Steph Curry and then KD.
Okay.
Dang,
So
Steph better than
list.
Clay. Or Steph better than KD?
I think so.
Wow, you just can't say that and not say nothing.
I mean, just look. The Warriors team isn't what it was a few years ago, and Steph Curry still putting up those same numbers with not the same type of help. Klay Thompson is hurt. KD's not there anymore. They traded some other key players. They decided to move on, and he's still just dropping buckets. So right now, he is better than KD.
Yeah. Well, this season he definitely is. Yeah, but that's a good Mount Rushmore, man. But this has been a real exciting season, man. And we want to talk to all our winners out there. You know, we got a shout out from my cousin JR on the comments. He said some really cool stuff about the Super Bowl and about the NBA. He thinks that the finals is going to be the Nets versus the Lakers. So, again, we always like to shout out our winners. We told you get in the comments, we can get you on the podcast. So, JR, thanks for commenting about that. But I want to just hit up the Super Bowl. I know I'm switching gears a little bit. We got to talk about it a little bit. It wasn't the Super Bowl I thought it was going to be. Yeah, actually,
boring.
Because Tampa just dominated. Chiefs didn't have a chance. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as you all know, won 31-9. Chiefs didn't score a touchdown. We're not going to labor on it long because they've been talking about it all week. But just give us a quick commentary about what y'all think about the Super Bowl, what y'all thought about it.
I'll let April start this off.
I have one word.
What?
Boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't the game anybody expected. I don't think anybody saw blowouts. I saw some people say, the Chiefs will blow out the Bucks, but nobody saw the Chiefs only scoring 9 points. And what can be said already? That hasn't been said. Tom Brady's the GOAT, and if he wasn't before, he definitely is now. And to me, he's just extending the lead. 7 rings.
That's incredible, man.
And I think the craziest stat is that Brady has 7 rings, right?
Yeah.
He has more rings right now than any other franchise in the NFL.
Yeah, that's true.
The Steelers have 6. The Patriots have 6, which Brady gave them all 6. So right now today, he leads the NFL in rings more than franchises that have been around for like 100 years.
That's crazy, man.
It doesn't even seem real. But I think the Chiefs, I think we'll find out who they are now. They since Mahomes took over, they just been winning, blowing everybody out. They never lost by double digits. They never had a single digit scoring game, and this is their first one. It just came at the worst time.
Right.
But I think it's like a wake up call. They got to be prepared because they played sloppy. They didn't seem ready. Mahomes seemed kind of off from the beginning.
Yeah.
They made a lot of mistakes, and you can't make mistakes when you're playing against the GOAT.
But the officials, though, and I want to kind of throw something out there. If you are Kansas City Chief fans, they got some tough calls at key times. Maybe it's just me. I don't know if everybody else saw it, but it seemed like the officials, though, was kind of shortchanging them on a few ticky-tack calls, and they were key calls.
But they always do that when it comes to Brady. So, I mean, that's something you have to expect as the opposing team, especially when you're going against Tom Brady in the Super Bowl.
That Brady's going to get the calls?
Yeah, he's going to get the calls. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Like, that's a part of being prepared, right? The coaches before the week, you got to say, hey, look at his past performances. Look at his past Super Bowls. This is nothing new. You have to expect that. But the thing you can't have, if you get a couple penalties, you saw players start to yell at each other, blow up on the sideline. You got to stay composed, play within the games, the ref, how they want you to play the game how the refs want you to play it. And, and realize, hey, if that's how they're calling it, we got to adapt. That's part of being prepared, too.
Yeah, that is.
But, because we always know the calls were going to be slanted for Brady. I think that wasn't a surprise.
Yeah.
And you would have a bit more of a point if it wasn't 31-9. Like, if you lost 29-31, it was a close game, and they made a bad call at the end, of course. But if you get blown out, nobody wants to hear about the refs.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're right. But you know what? Like I say, I don't think anybody's ever going to break Brady's record because.
Yeah.
And again, we had this conversation before, but I'll say it again. Number one, he's a phenomenal talent. One of the great throwers of the football. But we know the Patriots did a little janky cheating. They were videotaping a little bit early in their career.
Deflating a little bit.
Yeah, just deflating the ball a little bit. The call against the Raiders that started it all, Brady clearly fumbled the football, but they made up a rule on the field that his arm was moving forward, but it really wasn't. So that's why I think it's going to be impossible to beat that record because not only do you have a phenomenal talent, you had some jankiness going on, you had a little bit of the official love, and then you had luck like the Seattle Seahawks had them beat, and they decided on the 1 yard line to throw a slant pass right in the heart of the defense. Like, stuff like that just doesn't happen. So that's why I think nobody's going to ever catch Brady because you're going to need like about 5 or 6 different factors to get there.
Yeah, and I'm switching my stance on this, because before the game, if Mahomes would have won this, then he could have, 2-6, you maybe could catch up, but now it's 7
to 1.
Yeah, and winning 7 championships is gonna be tough, for all the factors you said, and the other thing is Brady's not done.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He's coming back next year. They're probably the favorites right now to win it again. They're definitely, to me, the best team in the NFC. So he might win 8, maybe 9, maybe 10.
Oh my goodness.
And who knows how long he's gonna keep playing.
That's Will Chamberlain's 100, man. I don't know if we're gonna ever see anybody in the NBA score 100 points. I don't know if anybody's gonna ever catch what Brady does. Maybe not in our lifetime. It's just one of those records that I think he's just putting it way out of reach, man.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's still being written. It's like they have a legitimate chance to repeat. And at the everybody's saying, oh, he's getting old, but he doesn't look old. He looked younger than Patrick Mahomes in that game.
Well, I think I agree. Let me ask you this, but did they? And I want to hear April T's opinion on this first. Did they settle who was the man, Belichick or Brady? Is that settled now, or is that still a debate?
That's a good question. I don't think you can take away what Belichick has done with the Patriots. But it certainly strengthens the argument in favor of Brady, but can he do it again? Because talent's going to follow Brady wherever he goes.
True. Yeah, they were stacked.
They were stacked. So Belichick was able to do that with Brady, and the team wasn't necessarily stacked each time.
Okay.
So I think you can't take away what Belichick did, and what he did that he wasn't supposed to do. So I think that's a tough question, but I don't want to take away from him because to keep that momentum going for all those years, he could have been the one who helped Brady get that eye of the tiger. So I can't say.
What about you, Burr? Belichick or Brady, man? Who's really the responsible for New England's dynasty?
I mean, I think it's obvious at this point. I got a stat for you. So, you want to know Belichick's record without Tom Brady?
What?
51-65. Losing record. I think he even got fired from the Browns, I think. His record with Tom Brady, 136-39.
Dang. That's crazy. But
Brady's record, hold on. Brady's record without Belichick, 15-5 and a Super Bowl. So, and to go to the Bucks in one season, you take a 7-9 team, flip them into the Super Bowl champions in one season, no off season because of COVID. I mean, I think it's obvious. It's the Brady way, not the Patriot way.
But I'll throw a but in there. I mean, they did add Antonio Brown. They did add Gronk. They did add Fournette. The 3 guys they added were the people who scored in the Super Bowl.
And why did they come there? Because of Tom Brady called up Antonio Brown. No other team would take him. Even the Bucks coach said in the offseason he wouldn't sign Antonio Brown. But then when Brady gets there, Antonio Brown's there. Gronk will only play for Tom Brady. He came out of retirement. Leonard Fournette signed with the Bucks because of Brady as well.
Yeah.
So now that makes you question even some of Belichick's. He's always got credit as a GM. Maybe some of that was, hey, I don't really care who I play for as a coach. Maybe they came to the Patriots to play with Tom Brady.
Yeah, you're probably right. And you know what? I love what Tampa Bay did. It ain't rocket science. Those were probably the 3 of the best guys just sitting out there. So they went and got them. As Bear fans, we know the Bears would never do that. Yeah. Because right now the Bears are trying to get Carson Wentz, man. Yeah. Carson Wentz, who hasn't, let's be honest, man. He had one pretty good season with Philly. Mm-hmm. But he didn't even finish that season.
Got hurt.
Right. Nick Foles took over and got him to the Super Bowl. But because he started off, and I think he was like 8-1, he had a really good record. So he got rewarded with a big old contract. And ever since then, it was straight downhill. He got benched this year for Jalen Hurt, right? Mm-hmm. And now the Bears want him. I don't understand it, man.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Especially, Deshaun Watson is available for trade. Even Aaron Rodgers, he's unhappy with the Packers, it seems like I don't think he'll leave, but hey, I will put in a call. And then if you're the Philly apparently wants 2 first-round picks for Carson Wentz. So it's like if you're gonna give up a first, second-round pick, you'll be better off just drafting a quarterback or getting somebody that you know is actually good. And then, but the biggest thing is Mitch Trubisky is actually better than Carson Wentz.
See, now I agree with that, man, and that's why I don't understand. Why will we go backwards? You took a big gamble to move up to be number 2 in the draft to get Mitch Trubisky. Okay, now to correct that error, you go out and get a guy with a giant contract who had 2 bad seasons to replace him. So you get somebody even worse to replace him. He's older. He's been hurt. I just don't get it.
Yeah, he has a long injury history. He threw 15 picks last year in only 12 games. Didn't even play a full season. Took 50 sacks. He gets hurt every year. And Mitch Trubisky is actually a better quarterback right now today than Carson Wentz.
And he has more upside.
More upside, and you can get him for way cheaper. And I'm not campaigning for Mitch, but I'm saying it's no point in taking on $100 million contract, giving up draft picks to get him, and he's not even an upgrade.
I agree, man. And again, we're not hating on Carson Wentz, man. You know, I wish him well. He's not that old. He can still, you know, salvage his career and maybe make something of it. But I just don't think he's the right fit for the Bears, man. I just hope that we don't go that route. Because Carson Wentz only been in the league since 2016. So it's not like he's an old dude. But I just hope the Bears don't do us like that.
Yeah, he could still turn it around, but yeah, I agree. That would be they already made a mistake getting Mitch in that draft, and then now you correct it by making it an even bigger mistake. Especially when you have Deshaun Watson available for trade. You have a chance to make it right because you should have drafted him anyway. So go ahead and make that happen. Or just draft a quarterback. I don't know how that's going to go either, but I'd rather take a chance with a rookie.
I agree. Well, it's been a great show, man. It's been a real good podcast. We want to say to all our peeps out there, we're on every social media platform. Now we're on Clubhouse. You can jump in. After the show, we're going to talk to you live. So hit us up on Clubhouse. Check us out. And then if you stay on after the show, you can talk to us live in person. So we are on every social media platform. And if you comment, as you can see, we give you a shout out. And we call all our subscribers winners, man. So Mike Burr, what else you got to talk about? Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, it's a great show. We had a great, kind of boring ending to the NFL season. But now, back into the NFL or back into the NBA, and it's going to be fun.
April T?
Yeah, so I do want to share something. Something that it's rumored that will Russell Wilson request a trade next season.
Oh, wow.
Because he went on the Dan Patrick show on ESPN radio, and he said he's tired he feels like he gets hit too much, and he wants direct say-so and who comes to the team now. Which is unlikely for Russell Wilson to say something negative about the franchise. He's that poster child for like an NFL player. And he sounded frustrated on the show. So does he want out of Seattle?
Wow, that's interesting. I'm surprised, he went on radio to talk about that. That's something that could be handled behind closed doors, but maybe that he tried to handle it behind closed doors and now he's airing them out. That's what it sounds like. So that's interesting. So
and check this out, man. Russell Wilson. Now check this out. Russell Wilson has been sacked 394 times in 144 regular season games. Now check this out. Wow. According to ESPN Stats and Information Research, that's the most in a player's first 9 seasons since the 1970 AFL-NFL merger.
Wow.
So he's been sacked more than anybody ever. So you can't blame him, man. That sounds like some frustration. And he's been Superman. If you watch Russell Wilson, man, he's like a one-man team sometime. But you can't blame him for taking that punishment. And he's not a big dude.
Yeah.
He's not a big dude at all. He's only 5'11".
Yeah, they've it's a common theme that they don't have a good offensive line there, and you don't if you're paying a quarterback that much and he's that talented, you definitely got to protect them. So yeah,
so I like it, man. That's a good good stat, April. I think they need to do like they do with a lot of the top league quarterbacks now. It's time to put some money into that offensive line.
I agree. That's all that I have.
All right. Well, hey, it's been a great podcast. Hit us up in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. We had a good one. We're going to stay on and talk some more on Clubhouse. So if you want to jump on Clubhouse, ask them some questions live in effect, please do. But we want you to subscribe. We want you to share. We want you to check us out on social media. And as we always do, Mike Burr, drop the beat.